This is the talk of Music City real estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Mohr with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow, log, and subscribe at talkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Monty.
Carey Ann.
Look at these good-looking ladies.
it's
You're outnumbered, my friend.
I told them earlier, it's the three blondes and the old guy.
Sure.
You know?
And it's the right color blonde, too. It's hard to get it. So it's perfect.
We've got my main squeeze, Connie Mohr.
Stop it.
And our one and only Chrissy Amundson, which is a heartbeat of our operation,
yes,
for sure.
Chrissy,
thank you all the way from
far
Key West.
Away. Yes.
Wow. That's how important this message is today, guys. We've shipped her all the way up here from the Key West.
That's true.
All right. I was thinking about getting my hair dyed blonde just so I could
that would be hysterical.
You are the most platinum.
Thank you for that. And it's all natural, Jim.
Frosted tips.
Really frosted tips.
Hey, we've got a really, really special, very important topipic today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about old people. I think that's why they invited me to come along here today, was they needed a token old person.
Stop.
Years ago I was on a basketball team years ago, and it was called the B&W Trotters, the black and white Trotters, and I was the token white guy.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks. All right.
Is that pertinent? Probably not.
I'm not sure.
I've been the token guy before. But anyways.
Okay. It was your 6 feet 5 inches.
That might have had something to do with it while I was invited. Yeah. So anyway, today we're going to talk about a really super important topic, and that is senior services.
Mm-hmm.
It's a growing group of people. And Connie and I have personally experience with it. I know you got some experience helping your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And not that she's senior, but someday will be, I'm sure.
Young and fabulous.
We did. Connie's folks lived with us for a while, and I was the caregiver of my mom for a while, and so that's a near and dear and to our hearts. And the one thing that really stood out with that experience, I think, Connie, I think you'd agree, is that I don't know that anything in life prepares you.
Nothing.
To be that go-to person for your parent, and the idea, well, they become a child. Yeah, that's true to a point, but it's a lot harder than a child.
Yeah.
Because a child isn't going to get up and turn the oven on, for instance, and leave it on, or some of the other things that we dealt with.
Yeah. Yeah. So many years ago, we did become caregivers, not only to my parents, but Monty's, but excuse me. Like you said, nothing prepares you for that. Mm-hmm. And as we went in from not only having them in our home, but trying to find care, whether it be assisted living, whether it be in-home resources for getting them to appointments, doctor's appointments, physical therapy, everything, you just don't realize until something like this smacks you in the face as an adult, caring for elderly parents, not only what it does to the family dynamic, what it does to your sleep and your stress and all of that, but just not knowing what the resources are. So a couple months ago, I teamed up with Chrissy here and a group of our agents to put together some resources so that we could not only share through some marketing materials, but on our website of just a database of resources that someone can tap into. And again, with partnering with Chrissy, I'm going to throw it over to you for just a moment as to why this is so important to us, not only from Monty and I's standpoint, but from us as a company and our culture.
Yeah, it's huge. I think there's this designation, the Senior Real Estate Services Specialist, and I think a lot of people don't have that, and it's super valuable. And we are lucky that we do have a number of agents that have that, and a number of agents that are experienced in this specific category. So part of our culture that I'm just tremendously proud about is that we really put action behind that caring. A lot of places, we care about people. Okay, but what do you do? And this is something that really is just a huge step in the right direction of showing that we're putting action behind that. I'm just really proud of it. So the resources are going to be online, of course. Everything is online, so we have to have that as a resource, but we also understand that there's a huge part of this population that may not be technologically savvy in that way.
Right.
So we're also going some traditional routes with marketing to really branch out and reach everyone. So I'm really excited about some of the things that we're going to be doing and some of those resources that are going to be coming out.
So one thing that we learned through this process is that there's multiple ways to approach this. One of the reasons why I asked Carey Ann to be here, part of this is because one of the ways is to age at home. The problem is the financing, because most people, the big chunk of their money, that whatever they're worth, is in the equity of their real estate. So one way to get access to that money is through a reverse mortgage, which you can provide, correct?
Yeah, a reverse mortgage is one option. An all-in-one mortgage loan is another option, depending on the qualification. But a reverse mortgage is perfect for somebody that is over the age of 62. And you can look at it two different ways. Somebody can purchase a home utilizing the reverse mortgage, or somebody can then put that home that they already own onto a reverse mortgage. And you do not have mortgage payments at that point when it is converted over. Right. So it gives you a lot of flexibility just to enjoy life and not have that strain and concern about making a mortgage payment. And very similar to the all-in-one as well, it sweeps over.
I love the all-in-one.
And the equity over.
That we love the all-in-one. It's got a couple of benefits. One of them, of course, you don't have to be 62 to get an all-in-one, right?
Correct.
And the other part is that, it doesn't have the cost associated with it, but, you have to weigh that out. But again, it's something that we want to bring light to, because a lot of folks don't know that you can help somebody buy maybe $1 million home with their $500,000 cash they're bringing from California or something like that. And I mean, because sometimes folks want to size down, but then can't afford it and get away from their payment. This allows them to do that.
Yeah, their qualification amount determines, or the amount is determined through age, value, and rate. So depending upon how old one is, the value of the home and the interest rate. Now, again, as interest rates increase, the amount of how much that HUD will actually lend will lessen. But the total amount that HUD lends right now is $970,800. That's the max that they are lending on at the moment.
Cool. So, Connie, let's talk about, so we got the mortgage part of it. We can go down that path. Tell us what else that you ladies are putting together here in the way of resources for our team and other realtors that might want to join into this with this.
Yes. Well, even just to end where Carey Ann, where Carey Ann left off there, is that people don't realize, and families don't realize, and the loved ones needing the care don't realize what it costs. Whether it's assisted living, and if you don't have long-term care insurance, if you don't, people think because they've got Medicare and they've got Social Security and maybe a little bit of whether it's military pension or whatever, these days it's just not enough. People don't realize supplemental insurance, because Medicare doesn't cover everything. And there are resources out there to help people figure these things out, so they know, what benefits are available. We did not know that because Monty's mother was, her late husband was a veteran and he served during his military career, that she was eligible for rent assistance. So that was a tremendous help. We would not have been able to put her in the places that she was able to live in her final years if it weren't for that additional income that we didn't even know was available.
It was an extra $1,100 a month, which in her world it made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And there are so many things like that, like assistance with Medicare, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, however many there are. If you look at any Medicare information online or whatever they send you, it'll make your head explode. So there are advocates out there that will help people free of charge with questions, with putting them in touch with these resources, whether it's Medicare, whether it's VA benefits, things like that. And at no cost. And they're just an advocate to get you to the right resources for the people that can help you. So these are the things we want to share. We're not in any way promoting any of these companies. We're just, we're a funnel. We're just sharing information. And again, a lot of this was born out of the research and the time and the road warrior that I was between all these assisted living places, trying to find a place for his mom and for my parents.
Sure.
You know,
So I got to know all of them on my own, not knowing there was a resource out there to help me do all that.
And that was a huge revelation. I mean,
gosh.
she spent day after day going to every assisted living, every independent care place, and getting to know each one, and looking at what is that, $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000. What does that include? And you go in there, and some of them are just so sad. It's just heartbreaking. And then we find out after going through that for our parents that there's a resource that we could have tapped into that would take us out. But just real quickly on our story, Connie's folks came to live with us. It's about 5 years ago now, and Wade wanted a garage, so it was really there wasn't much to pick from. We ended up picking it with one. They could afford it at the time. It was a place here locally called, I can't say what it was called.
A place.
Okay.
A place.
My wife's going like this, which means no, don't say. Okay, it starts with an H. It's on Concord. Well, sweetheart, here's the deal. Okay. Well, anyway, so they signed up for that. It was a very expensive place. Started, I think, at $4,200 after they bought the place. Okay, this is after they bought it. It was $4,200 a month. But he wanted a garage. So he got his garage, even though he had to stop driving because of reasons, which we won't go into. But my point is, nothing prepared them for understanding that rent would go from $4,200 a month in 18 months to $6,000 a month. And their financial situation had changed. And so feeling somewhat responsible of helping them get into that place, then Connie and I sold our place, which we had just bought, to buy a place where they could move into. And that's how committed we were. With us, yeah. In the meantime, we get a place with a basement with the intention, well, if it works out for them, then my mother can move in. But that was before we lived with them for a little while, realizing, okay, that ain't going to happen. I love my mom, but that ain't going to happen. So it was for 2 years, we lived in the environment where we didn't know if our dog was going to be home because Wade would leave the front door open, or if the stove was going to be left on, or if the water was going to be left, and whatever. We just didn't know, or we'd come back from a nice little evening out, only to find out that one of them had fallen and nobody could pick the other one up. And anyhow, it was something nothing prepares you for until you walk down that road. Okay, so that's why it's so important to us that we help our peers become familiar with. Because we had to live through all this. Nobody told us, wow, this is what could happen, or that could happen, or this resource, or, get this expertise, and how valuable as a real estate professional, how valuable you would be considered if you had this expertise.
I think that's huge. What you're saying is providing that value, right? So you may know people that already own their home, so it's not a sale per se, but you going the extra mile to set that family up with knowledge about a reverse mortgage or the all-in-one will then have you shine in the eyes of all of their loved ones, right? And you're allowing them, to be able to save so much money. Now, there's a rhyme or reason why somebody may want to be in assisted living, right? Because they want to play the Canasta. Canasta. See, I don't know.
Canasta.
Cool, sounds like close enough. Too funny. Mom plays it all the time. But by a certain time, and they're doing this at that time, and they need nurse care, all the things. Another option where Aubrey's great grandmother was able to live in her home until 96.
Wow.
And it was the home that raised Aubrey's grandmother in that home, and they were able to set that up in a way that it was already paid off. And then they had a nurse, come and care. And then the kids were great to, rotate things. So there is this way or that way, you just got to find what works best, for you. But as a real estate agent, providing that extra value is huge. And or going into purchasing, right? You can then go purchase, like you referenced, if they qualify, if they're over 62, if it's a primary residence, and HUD allows them to have this much money because of their age and the value of the home, et cetera, like you said, there could be a possibility that they could buy the home that works perfectly for their family.
It's one level now. They don't have to climb the steps.
Dollar figure, not have a mortgage payment, until passing.
Yeah, but I can't encourage people enough. Have a conversation with your parents and loved one long before the need is there. And just like we did, nobody thinks about it. But
we were thrown into it.
Talk to your parents about their financial situation, their retirement, their insurance, all of that stuff, because you don't realize again until life smacks you upside the head that there's a need for it, and the cost is unbelievable.
And that's why I think the aging at home is a great option if that's doable, whether it be buying or whether it be the all-in-one. I really think that's a great way to do it because of the costs. I mean, my mom was in a local place here in Franklin that was $4,000 a month. That's all the money she had in the world, was that $4,000 a month. And it got so restricted in her life that she couldn't do anything else because it was taking up every dollar she had. And I had to be, the hardcore one saying, Mom, you can't give to that ministry that money like you're wanting to do, because then VA will look at you as spending frivolously, and all this kind of pressure. It was unbelievable, but she didn't have the other resources, and we had to make that work, and we did that. But it was, I'll never forget, when she first moved here, the intention was for us to live with us for a while, but our home was like 3 stories and it didn't work. But when we finally said, okay, we can't live under this kind of stress, because we didn't know when she was going to fall. Okay, there was so many steps, and so we had, and Connie had researched every place around, and so we chose one here locally, right up the street here on Cool Springs Boulevard, and a great choice. She liked it when we walked in there. We found a perfect spot for her. But then she refused to move, and she lived with us. Once we paid the down payment, she still lived with us for a couple of months more, because she didn't want to live in one of those kind of places. Because a lot of her adult life, she was involved with going to entertain people in those kind of places, and she didn't want to. And so even when she did finally make that decision, she wanted to keep her address, her mailing address, in our place, because she didn't want any of her friends to know that she had moved into one of those kind of places. 2 months later, fast forward a couple months after she's there, and as an example, I never forget, the kids had come up here from Florida, and great grandkids to visit her. And when we tried to get it scheduled so she could come to our house and hang out with the kids, well, honey, I've got, canasta that day. I've got, they're going to have karaoke that day. I mean, all this kind of stuff. There were so many things that she didn't want to miss that then she wouldn't leave, to come hang out with the kids and the grandkids.
But they'll tell you it takes probably 3 to 6 months before somebody settles in, feels comfortable, and then they don't want to leave because they're around people of the same age with the same issues, and then they get all wrapped up in all of the entertainment that they have in a lot of these, and the activities and the outings, and and once they get that going, which and then we couldn't get her out of there. She didn't want to come over anymore.
That's too funny.
I was going to say that's one thing I really love about this endeavor is how inclusive it is. It's the transportation, it's in-home care, it's those resources, but it's the activities, the senior activities, the concerts. I mean, just
everything.
Things that you don't really think about, but that make this whole process more pleasant for all the people involved, that it doesn't have to be something, hugely unpleasant and traumatizing if you're informed and you have these resources. So I think it's got a positive spin on it.
And you can age in place and still have access to a lot of these tools.
And that's services. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think many people we become, in our profession, let's just speak of the real estate agent, and in the person that's buying and selling is this age, right? We just assume that the clientele is blank. We forget to think outside the box, and be well educated on all the different, communities within. And so being so well diverse, and being somebody that's actually certified, and you referenced that they can be certified?
Yep. SRES. We have a link on our website to the CE shop where they can get SRES certified.
What's SRES stand for?
Senior.
Senior Real Estate Specialist.
There you go.
Senior Real Estate Specialist.
I'll let Chrissy talk about the website. We are going to be.
Yeah, so it's everything is part of realty1groupmusiccity.com. That's the hub of everything, but we'll have a senior services page there that's going to have links directly to all of this. So it'll be the phone numbers, easy to access, emails directly, hyperlink, click it, it'll send the email, direct links to the website. It's really just simplifying the process and just making it really easy to read, easy to sort through, easy to search, nothing too complicated, but all of the information in one place, really easy to find. We'll link out to all of those different things. And there's multiple options under each category. So you can really kind of do your due diligence and find the best fit for something and make kind of a customized game plan for you and your family.
Yeah, and we're going to be highlighting our agents that are SRES certified as well.
Definitely.
I think to me it's one of those things, we're constantly trying to equip our agents with more tools in their tool belt, and I think that having this knowledge, having this resource suddenly empowers them to help sit down and talk options when they run into that situation where they've got an elderly person that's wanting to sell, and to really discover with them what is best for their situation.
Well, this business is by referral usually, right? And so we talked in a previous session with Blake about, my worth and all the things, et cetera. You think about taking it to the next level is when you're sitting with somebody, letting them know that you specialize in this and you're certified in that, because you never know who they know, right? I mean, you're talking just to, Mr. Smith, but Mr. Smith may have a parent that needs to sell a home and or can utilize a reverse mortgage, et cetera, and you can provide that extra value and all of these extra resources. But if you don't tell me about that you're certified in it would never come up in conversation either. So always make sure that you share all of that goodness and greatness with others is important, I think. Just
earlier this week, a past broker acquaintance of mine referred some clients to him, and when I reached out to them, I find out that they're bringing in the 90-year-old mother with them who's got dementia. And it was so empowering to have some resources for them. That was such a and if there was any hesitancy in them feeling comfortable working with Blake and I, that dissipated immediately when I said, God bless you for living with your mother-in-law at this time of life, because I certainly
could relate.
Really appreciate what somebody goes through in that scenario. I think personally I earned a special place in heaven. I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm just kidding. But in retrospect, we're really grateful that we had that experience. It was intense couple of years, but anyway, part of the purpose here is for you to be equipped to talk the language for a potential client or future clients, but also for your own life in case that's in your future, so that you have some. Because I'd never thought about that. I never thought about it till we jumped in the pool as far as how do I swim through here. I love my wife, but my God, there's a limit here.
I'm putting you somewhere. I'm just saying. So just a couple of things that are going to be featured on the website, and then I'll toss it back to Chrissy to talk about how you can get a hold of these information and when it's going to be available. But literally for families, for the loved ones, transportation, appointment help, getting rides and transportation to appointments, entertainment, companionship and activities, skilled nursing facilities, assisted living, independent living, in-home care, hospice, estate sales, estate planning and wills. We have resources for VA and Medicare, benefits and assistance, reverse mortgages. Thank you, Carey Ann. Long-term care insurance. That's one thing that I don't think we started paying for it when we turned 50, just so we had things covered for when we age. SRE certified agents within our company that can assist with all that, and much, much more. We're just scratching the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a lot of information. So not only through our website, but through some marketing materials that are available.
Huge.
So tell us about the website.
So the website should be up in the next week or two. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I want to make sure we have everything on there. But that's going to go live. And again, that's realty1groupmusiccity.com. That will have all of that information. Like Connie had mentioned, we're going to highlight those certified agents. So I'm really big about put that feather in your cap and show it off. So that's what this is going to be, because they're going to be the most qualified, the most educated on this topic. And then these resources, honestly, myself going through it, I've never had the personal experience that you guys have had with family members going through this. And so I was looking at all this information and I thought, wow, you really don't know what you don't know. And so I think a lot of people looking at this will see things that something will click and think, wow, I never really thought of that until this comes up. So even if you're not in the position maybe that you're taking advantage of this, I would recommend everyone take a look at it, get the information, be prepared, put that feather in your cap. You know, it's going to be up in probably a week or two.
Yeah, and if they want to get a hold of some marketing material, where can they get that?
We'll have marketing material available at both offices. So we have the Franklin and the Nashville location. So you can call Franklin at the 615-636-8244 number, or the Nashville location at the 615-925-0204. We can make sure that you get some of those in your hands, because that's another thing. While agents that are participating in something like this are such a resource to their clients, there's also these resources that we're providing who you could be a resource for them. So these transportation companies, maybe they need someone that's a trusted real estate professional that they can refer out. So creating those connections is going to be really valuable. So either of our offices will have the flyers and marketing materials available, and then the website live. And
I'm so excited.
I know, me too.
Can't stand it.
Value.
Yeah.
Carey Ann, what else? Anything else you want to share on the topic?
I just think, as real estate agents, being well versed and moving yourself up to that professional category is so key. Knowing that there's options out there from a mortgage standpoint to really assist them, whether they currently own. I've seen situations where grown children don't know, and so they automatically sell the home and move their kids, their parents, into assisted living when they could have just left them there in the environment, that they really enjoy and they're comfortable in. It's already one level, all the things,
Right.
and then you, on a line of credit, you would have the extra money for nurse care, et cetera, right? And so it just depends on if you go left or right in regard to the financing piece, but there's a lot of options out there, so good stuff.
I love the all-in-one personally. It doesn't have the cost associated with it as a reverse mortgage, and we can write checks as we need them, for the future. Thanks for helping us get connected on that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think this hopefully will be. Here's the deal, guys. You've heard me say this before if you're part of our team. Prosperity follows value. If you want to make more, you become more. We're constantly trying to, and if you've been watching this podcast for any length of time, we're constantly trying to add more value to your world because we know that for that reason, prosperity follows value.
Yeah.
I have a conviction that our future of our industry hinges on the future of the real estate professional, not the agent out there. The agent is what's caused us some problems, okay? I'm talking about the professional who's first of all leading with service, a servant's heart. That's what I'm talking about. So if we can continually bring to light, bring to our language the additional tools and services and the things that are going to resonate with a larger group of people, guess what's going to happen in your world? You're going to earn more because you're going to be worth more. Not long ago, one of our young agents said, "Monty, I really need to sell a house." And I said, "Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. The universe will reciprocate based on your value. You can control that. Okay, and here's an example of that. Become proficient on this topic, and guess what's going to happen?
Amen.
You're going to resonate, and the universe and your higher power is going to bless accordingly. But anyhow, I'll get off my soapbox.
All things on the first-time home buyer and the last-time home buyer, right? That's kind of the situation
all
there.
Things.
But
all
thank
things.
you,
Well, thank
ladies,
everybody.
for joining us. The three blondes and the old man in the house. Too funny. Hey, thanks again for joining us. We are excited to have you come back. You've been listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.